All right, welcome back to Cheesehead Chatter. On today's episode, Jackson Churio has made the opening day roster, but who will fill out those final four spots for the Bats? Badger basketball is a 5 seed and played James Madison University. And finally, the Packers were extremely aggressive so far this offseason. But before we get started, we must thank our presenting sponsor.
Once again, this episode is brought to you by Insect Hobby Design Co. Insect Hobby Design Co. is over 20 years of expertise in branding, design, illustration, and web development. Insect Hobby Design Co. brings a wealth of experience to the table, whether you're a small business aiming for a standout identity or a nonprofit aiming for a profit enterprise seeking impactful visuals. Their team is here to help elevate your brand with precision and creativity. We would also like to thank them for sending us these mics, improved our quality tremendously. To learn more, go to insecthobby.com.
Thank you, Cal.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. My
Thank
pleasure.
you, Cal.
So, Sal is for sure playing third base this year. Now the question is he the opening day third baseman against the Mets facing a lefty in Jose Quintana? Or do we see him in the outfield and that's somebody else's spot?
I think we see him at third base personally. I think this is his way of getting into the lineup more with Quintana on the mound, which will give us PTSD to this time with the Cubs, but we'll see that when it happens again. But I think this is just Murphy's way of wanting to keep him in the lineup, like I've said in the past. And people were contemplating whether he was serious when he did this, but time and time again, Murph has shown us that he's going to be there throughout the year.
I don't know, Cal. The way he was talking about him being the lefty option at third base makes me feel like they're definitely going to play the matchup, especially with him, which I don't like because I want him seeing both-handedness as much as possible because that's really the only way he's going to grow as a hitter. But it just seems that's the way the Brewers are going to structure their lineup this season, and probably I would assume Ortiz or Monasterio at third base opening day, unfortunately, but then Sal would probably face most right-handers, but time will only tell.
He's still young and the season's hasn't even started yet, so things could change, obviously.
Okay. So you said left-handed option. Does that mean that Ortiz or Monasterio play second base instead of Terrain? Because there's no way they have Terrain show out versus a lefty, especially if Frelick's not going to be in the lineup.
Well, you bring up a great point there, Gabe, because I was thinking about that too. If Sal's at third base, and we already know Jackson Churio's made the opening day roster, so the expectation is going to play center field most likely. Their right-handed outfield options are pretty limited, so there's no way they run out Mitchell, Frelick, and Terang opening day. I'm pretty sure they said Terang's starting opening day.
Yeah, they did.
At least he's
Yeah.
So you got to imagine they're gonna try to roll a right-handed option at third base, and then it's really gonna come down to who keeps hitting between Mitchell and Sal to see who's playing right, because frankly they're both been getting after it, and with how much we've seen Mitchell leading off, to me that kind of tells me he may have the upper hand because they love his speed. He does draw a lot of walks.
Looks like we're having some technical difficulties, but I think AJ's point was how Garrett Mitchell's been leading. Oh,
We got your audio.
Okay.
There we go. Thanks.
That same thing with you, Jay-Z. You
All
froze,
right,
but
we're
still
back.
the audio. So I don't know. I think it's going to get interesting. We always wonder if the Brewers were ever going to have a left-handed bat. Now there is so many left-handed options that, I mean, it makes me wonder who's going to fill out the rest of the opening day roster even. Because we know with the Brewers, and Murph's already said it, this is not going to be these are the 40-man roster. This is who's going to come up this year. It's going to take another 55, 60 guys total to win some ball games. What do you guys think for this opening day roster construction?
I think it'll come down to who the last outfielder is between Weimer and possibly Blake Perkins too, because I know Joey Weimer last year, the only pitching he hit was a left-handed pitching, so I know that they will want to put him on the lineup in some sort of capacity if he makes the 26-man for opening day. So I know he'll probably just because we now know who the handedness is of the opening day pitcher.
I mean, just like you said, he can only hit left-handed pitchers, but one of Blake Perkins' 2 home runs on the year was against the left-handed pitcher. Is probably the hardest hit ball I've ever seen Blake Perkins hit. And and I feel like Blake gives better at bats. He has a little less of a glove, but still fits that perfect 4th, 5th outfielder that they need over Joey Wiemer, and giving Wiemer consistent at bats in AAA rather than Blake Perkins, I feel like would help Joey Wiemer a lot more.
I don't know,
I-
Gabe. DRS might disagree with you on that one with Weimer and Blake Perkins, because I know Blake was one of the more elite defenders out in Major League Baseball last year, so he has a very, 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 very good glove.
Then it makes, for me, it feels like the decision's a lot easier between the two if they're that close in defense.
Agreed, 100%.
And Weimer's still a Gold Glove potential outfielder.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like it's the weirdest conversation because in the MLB is all about bats. But then you get it all of a sudden it gets deep and we get deep dive and it's like, well, their defensive run save their WAR. And it's like, hold on, weren't we just talking about them getting a hit? Like if it comes down to defense, I think they take the more power option with Weimer, at least early in the year. I mean, we know they're gonna see. Well, I think there might only be the one lefty though. So could this be a situation where Weimer may make the opening day roster, play day 1, and is shipped out?
That'd be like the complete opposite of last year where he didn't make it.
Yeah,
And then he's there when Arias got hurt.
but like my thought is opening day, I think we're gonna see Joey Ortiz at third base.
I
And
think
we're gonna
so.
see
I would like
probably
that.
Sal. I would lean Sal in the outfield just because I think lefty he is able to keep that front side in a little tighter.
I think
than
he's a lot better
Mitchell.
lefty than Mitchell.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I
could see
don't
that too.
know.
Um, but like I think Jake Bowers makes this roster for some reason. He hit third today, and he's just had a really nice spring overall.
I
It's
guess
getting near impossible to leave Haas off too.
I guess with Jake Bowers is where his at bats. You know, you invested in Gary Sanchez, you invested in Rhys Hoskins. You want to get Contreras off his feet, so he's gonna take up more DH at bats. Yelich is gonna not play the field every single day because you have to manage his back injuries. For me, I'm just not seeing his at bats. If he was a right-handed bat, I could totally feel that, but I don't know.
My thought
It's
with Bowers is he gets like Perkins did last year, where it's very spotty, but you kind of just hope he runs into one. It's not like he can play outfield, he can play first base, he can DH. I don't want to say expectation, but my thought he did somewhere between 150 and 200 at bats total. If he's with the team the whole year, he's out of options, which makes a huge difference. Like he's a guy that makes the opening day roster and then is DFA'd by the end of April, just because somebody else is coming.
Tyler Black.
Yep, that's really the yeah, left-handed bat, but can play both first and third and second.
yeah, that's very true. I guess it's hard for me to put him on the roster over some of the different guys that the Brewers have coming up, and I think there are other guys more deserving of that roster spot, but time will only tell to see how they want to shake out and start the season, because obviously there's no way they're gonna start the season the same way they end it. As we all saw last year with them using however many guys. So it's a very long season. It's a marathon, but for me, short term, long term, I just don't see where he fits.
But to me, Joey Ortiz is a lock for this roster. I also think Monasterio might be a lock,
I'm
and I
with you
think
on that, yeah.
Haas. I think
Yeah.
Haas is a lock. One, he's been absolutely crushing it,
yeah.
and two, I don't think they actually want Sanchez to be the primary backup catcher.
No,
There's
they
no
definitely
way-
signed him for the bat.
Murphy
Yeah.
said he doesn't want to carry 3 catchers, but at this point, you can't really look at Sanchez as a catcher, especially with his wrist injury still hurting him or bothering him a little bit.
I would
I think
consider
he's the starting
Sanchez.
DH.
I do too, and
I
I
did,
think
yeah.
that's he's going to get 500 at bats at the DH spot. Like,
Haas is just forcing their hand with how well he's been hitting this spring too.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to not take his bat going into the
and
regular
like you
season.
said, you can't look at Sanchez as a catcher at this point. I mean, if they would have found a way to sign Blake Snell, I mean, 2 years, 62 million for Snell, I'm maybe a little rich for the Brewers' blood, but I'm not gonna lie, it's enticing.
Mhm.
Then I'd probably look at Sanchez as more of a catcher option, but just based on how Snell threw with him, leading to a Cy Young.
Oh yeah.
But now it's like he's kind of struggled a little bit this spring behind the plate, really trying to figure out that thumb issue. And I'd rather have a catcher that's healthy as the primary backup than being like, all right, William needs a day off. What are we going to do? Because they clearly don't want to rush Caro either.
No, and I think Gary's much more valuable if has some sort of is healthy enough to just be able to hit, because he will bat 5, 6 somewhere in there and just bring power, and that's something the Brewers have desperately needed. And I think he's just much more of a valuable asset that way for the Brewers than him possibly trying to catch.
Yeah, definitely.
And
His bat is a lot more valuable than his glove can ever be, at least for what the Brewers want right now.
For what the Brewers need, frankly.
Yeah.
Right.
They need his bat.
And I mentioned in previous episodes that I think the biggest beneficiary of the Gary Sanchez signing is Willy Adames, and he's gone back to back. He's gone deep back to back games this spring, and I believe he hit behind Sanchez in both games. So
I
a
think
little bit more
Adames is ready
protection.
for a big year. I think he's gonna simplify a lot of things and just get back to what he was when he was doing when he was first traded over, because there's a lot more guys to protect him now, and he doesn't have to be the end all be all, which he was trying to be, because he just cares so much. And for him, once his at bats start to snowball, because he's such a rhythm and feel guy, it was starting to just turn in the wrong direction, and he could just never dig himself out of that hole. So him having a Yelich that now is starting to feel the baseball a little bit better. Reese Hoskins is a name there. Like, there's guys around him along with Gary Sanchez now that he has some sort of protection in there. I think he's gonna have a big year.
Willie's in a
That was-
contract year too, so
Yes.
Yeah,
it's more motivation
he
there.
kind of needs it. I think
The-
hitting sixth for him is probably the best spot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest knock on Council was throwing him in the 4 hole like every single day, because for some batters, the 4 hole seems to almost be like you have to get on base every time. You have to drive in the runners, and you could just see the more and more he went up in the 4 hole, the more press he got at the plate, and just the less he was able.
Well, we're kind of losing here, Gabe, I
Did.
think, but
Yeah,
it's all mental in the 4 spot, and mentally, that's not his game. Like, we're kind of skipping over it a little bit, but we need to hit on Jackson Chourio a little bit more. Him making the opening day roster is one enormous. It shows that contract wasn't just a look, we did something earlier than most teams. Like, they truly believe in this kid, and it's hard to not agree with the Brewers in their assessment. He was unbelievable in the spring breakout. He's had some young kid mistakes, but you live with them and you keep on cruising.
And
He's going to
especially
be really
since
good.
the mistakes have been because he's trying too hard too. Like, you know what I mean? It's effort mistakes, which I am willing to live with a young guy, because that's the best way he's going to be able to learn his limits, especially out in the field, because he's such a freak athlete. And for him being able to learn his limits within center field, what his physical ability is and his parameters to work within, it's the perfect time to figure it out in the spring, with maybe going a little bit extra for that sinking line drive, or maybe trying to add a little bit behind his ball to figure out like what his body can truly do. Because again, he just turned 20 years old. So he's still trying to figure out where he truly fits within a major league ball club, and like how far he has to go on using his physical abilities.
You're not wrong. It's like he's going to be impressive, and I know they want to play him in center field. They've talked about it. I think the long term though, he projects to a corner, like Acuna did, where he came up center fielder and then moved to right. And I think that's when he truly takes off. But I still think he's gonna be awesome in center field.
Calvin, did you see that he bunted for a single?
I did.
That was
I'm here
awesome.
for it. I'm here for it. You know me.
Bunts still
Absolutely.
matter.
Yeah.
They do. And it's a slump buster for him a little bit, even though he's been hitting very well. It just shows that he's willing to do anything and
Everything.
everything
Yep.
just to contribute to the team. And that's a selfless at bat for him trying to, because everyone knows how electric his hands are, how far he can hit the ball, how well he can take the ball the other way. But for him to just square around and try to bunt for his signal shows like just how much of a well-rounded and even mature baseball player he is, being 20 years old, trying to make the major league roster.
And with him
Some-
being on the opening day roster too, this is big for the incentives if he were to win Rookie of the Year.
Yep. Somebody did a study about like the percentage of hits that occur in certain exit velocities. And a typical bunt is somewhere between like 35 and 50 miles an hour. Like guys hit legitimately over 400 when they're attempting to bunt for a hit. So bunting is not dead. It needs to
Yelich
be
is a
actually
prime
more
example.
alive. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
For some
Yelich-
guys, it's a great equalizer. Especially for Churio, because he's so good with his legs. You know,
Very
it's
good.
he can really show off all the different tools he has. And if guys start to creep in a little bit, the ball that he may be a little bit like he might beat into the ground, like now it might hop over a guy, or a guy might not be able to handle it because the corners now have to play him either at half because they don't want to get bunted on. So it just opens up a lot more of the infield for him to play with, and for him to have, I don't want to call them fluky hits, but hits that may not be the best squared up balls, gives him the best chance to just keep getting on base and keep growing.
I feel like you mentioned like half the starting lineup for the Brewers right there. Terang, Mitchell,
Yep.
Frelick.
Weimer.
They all can do it. Weimer, Yelich can do it. Like it's got to be part of your arsenal still. I don't care if you're a 10-year pro or you're a 10-year-old. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's got to be part of your arsenal.
Any extra
But-
tools you can have in your toolbox, especially at that like level of baseball, to get those guys off guard on the corners, I think just keeps everything rolling as a hitter.
Couldn't agree more. We know Freddie Peralta is the Brewers' opening day starter. And DL Hall right now lines up as the number 2.
Love
I
it.
think that tells us what the Brewers think of him, frankly.
He's nasty.
He's been pitching pretty good this spring, at least from what I've been able to see.
He had 11 whiffs the other day.
That is a
Yeah.
lot of whiffs. And
In
what? How
3 and a
much do
third.
we
3
know?
innings.
Yeah,
3 innings.
that's unreal. Some guys can't even get that in like a full 7.
Mm-hmm.
So him being able to get all those, and wasn't he playing around with a little bit of a breaking ball too? Like he was very breaking ball heavy with his
Yeah,
last outing.
he's throwing his hard slider in that outing.
So him focusing on not even on his like main like pitch, like his forcing fastball, and for him to get that many whiffs on a pitch he's toying around with and working on. I mean, I don't know how you can't be excited for him to be in the Brewers rotation.
He's electric, and I can't wait to see him actually get a fair shot with Milwaukee as a starter.
He's going to show so many people really quickly that the Brewers won the Burns trade.
Yeah. As
So
long
is
as it's
Miley
not on
the 3?
anybody's mind. No, Ray is lined up as the 3 right
Ray?
now.
Okay. And then Miley Junis?
And then Miley,
Or-
if Miley is healthy, he's going to be the 4 right
4.
now. But if he's not able to go, it sounded like it would be Junis or Joe Ross.
Are they
Does
going to
it-
be in that kind of like Brent Suter-ish type of 4 and pass the ball on type thing? Or like,
From what I heard from Murphy, they were thinking about going only 4 to start the year.
Mhm.
But then when they get into those stretches of 13 games in 13 days, they'll go to a 6-man.
okay.
So
and the only
that's
one
when
on
you'll
this
get
list that won't be rotation piece is Gasser because he just
Yeah,
got
no.
reassigned.
no Bobby Gas to start the year.
But I
RIP
also
Bobby
think we
Gas.
see him. I think we see him Still in April. I don't think he breaks camp.
Quickly.
I mean he got sent down to the camp obviously, but he won't break camp with the team. But I don't see how he's not on the roster by the
He'll be
middle of
part
April.
of that 6-man rotation.
Well, and them talking about more Ashby as like a 5 tells me kind of where one they kind of see him at right now. Like he's clearly not behind, but they're definitely trying to limit innings early in the year with him, which I think is a great idea.
Yep.
And his stuff's looked better. I do think Junis gets more innings than we think though, as a starter.
I do too. I think the Brewers are going to toy around with some of his stuff to have him maximize his output because that's just what the Brewers do.
That man's probably living in the lab. That's why I haven't seen him very much.
I mean, they signed him as a starter, right?
Yeah.
They kind of signed him in that same Bryce Wilson role, but more starts than Wilson made.
Do you guys think Bryce Wilson makes any starts? Because I sure hope he
I
does
really
not.
hope not.
I hope he's back in his 3-inning close job when the Brewers are up 10.
Or down.
Yeah.
You know, I think he may be a guy though that like is an opener for Junis or Joe Ross.
I don't hate that.
I don't either.
Like
I never
he
considered
throws
that
an
either.
inning. He throws an inning. You basically get those guys a little bit more time because they're both comfortable doing both starting and relieving.
Mhm.
Get them a little bit more time in the pen, basically
Clench-
using their same routine, and then just
Clench your
getting
fist
after
for
it.
an inning, hoping that
4-seam fastballs don't get put over the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds
Way to
like
fill in for
something
him.
they do. Sounds like something they do on the road when they're playing in like San Diego or something, like in some huge park.
San Francisco,
Yeah.
your spot.
So Devin Williams is going to be out for a while, and I hate to call out an injury, but this was exactly the reason. Well, one of the reasons I thought the Brewers should have traded him this offseason because I don't want to say he's fragile, but like this really does affect his trade value going forward. It affects the contract he gets going forward. I think there was an
This-
opportunity to capitalize right at the end of the year, like right when the offseason started.
Especially with how replaceable relievers are too.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You're not
I
gonna
mean, with
find
the,
Devin on a tree, but he's still not easily, but he's replaceable.
you can
Especially
still
with
find
what we already
guys that
got.
throw 99 on trees right now. It's,
Yeah.
it's
I mean, you
ridiculous.
saw that with the Hader trade. Devin became the closer, and it was just chalk.
Next man up.
That leads us into
Yeah, rookie of the year, reliever of the year.
Right.
Like,
I mean, we have 3 guys that we've come up with that right now, like we've probably put together. Right now on our list, we have Abner, McGill, and Piamps. Personally, I do not want Piamps closing games. His regression is going to come swiftly, and I'm not ready for it.
Abner has gotten the last 2 ninth innings. I'm just throwing
That
no reason, but just throwing that out there.
Pat
A
Murphy's
save
Pat
and a
Murphy
win.
loves him.
I think he's
Yes.
ready for it.
I think
Oh
he
yeah.
is.
He's that kind of like he's probably mentally unstable, but in a very, very
Aren't
good.
all closers.
That
They
is
have to be.
exactly.
That's
They
the
have to
point.
be.
That's
Like,
his point.
he is like the perfect amount of like crazy that you bring to the mound as a closer, that you are the guy. Like every time that he would, like even on his debut, like you could tell like he was not phased by the moment. He was getting up on the mound and he was ready to throw some fuzz every single time. Even if he didn't know where it was going, he was ready to throw it as hard as he possibly could. And hopefully it was with missing bats or getting beat onto the ground. And I would love to see Abner as a closer for this season.
I am pro Abner to close every single game, but I also feel like Trevor McGill is also a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He-
So he could
Something
also
about him.
he could mess around and find his way to like 20 saves somehow.
If you look up him and Corey Knable, 2018 Corey Knable, like their baseball savant pages, they are scarily similar. It's something I noticed not too long ago, but they are scarily similar. They have a very similar type of fastball, same miles per hour, break, whatever, four seam. And then their curveball, it's this out of the same type of slide. It's the same type of break. It's the knuckle. It's the hard, sharp knuckle curve. And I think he's ready to be the eighth inning guy and kind of be that setup guy for Abner.
Are you talking about McGill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was out. I do want to say something. I think it was on Twitter where I saw it with Pat Murphy talking about just like how they're putting Abner Uribe in situations that comfortable for him, and like that he wants him to be put in a role where he knows where he's gonna pitch, and that's the perfect closing spot for Abner Uribe.
Mm. Yeah, he's definitely unstable. I think he's got to be the guy to start the year, and maybe that back just keeps on acting up a little bit for Devin as the year goes on.
Let's bring back Andrew Chafin.
Yes. Yes. Now you're speaking my language.
Well,
I
what's
might lose that
crazy?
nice head of hair he's got if Chafin comes back.
Sorry, I like the guys we got in the bullpen now. They all kind of throw more than 85 and not in the strike zone. It's really nice actually.
It's more than not in the strike zone that got Chafin.
All right, then we can
Oh,
just
yeah.
bring back Matt Bush. And I'll be even more. I'll be happy.
No,
Are you Matt Bush?
I'm not,
Matt.
but I was happy when we got him.
I think we're missing a guy though that we're not talking about enough, and that is Cal's guy.
Oh.
Thiago Vera.
Yes.
Oh,
He's
I thought we
electric.
were, I
You
thought
just
we were
didn't.
here.
I thought that's where
Oh,
we were going with that.
we'll mention him there too.
Started
Milner
here,
is
now
the
he's here.
absolute Swiss Army knife of
He's-
Brewers bullpen. You could either see him in the fourth inning or you can see him closing out the game, and he will be the exact same, shutting it down every single time.
I will be
we
the
love Hobie
loudest
Milner.
person in American Family Field if I'm at a game and Hobie Milner is closing. You will hear the Hobie chants from the bullpen area.
Actually,
Summer
I think there's two
24.
guys we're not mentioning, not named Hobie Milner,
Aguero?
Vieira,
Oh,
and Taylor Clark. I think Taylor Clark's
Interesting.
actually a huge piece in this pen. Whether people on
mean-
Twitter want to agree or not is up to them.
think about how many guys deep we're even considering giving high leverage innings in this Brewers bullpen. Like how deep this Brewers bullpen really is. Cause I feel like I could be comfortable with at least 4 or 5 guys taking 7, 8, 9, whatever
Like-
combination you want to play with for that day.
If we have really good Elvis Paguero,
Yes.
Yeah.
but if we have really bad Elvis Paguero, that's a story for a different day.
You are not wrong, Gabe.
Like I'm sitting here looking at the 40 man, just the pitching, and I legitimately see one guy on here that I don't think we're gonna see in the bigs that year. That's this year, and that's Brian Hudson. But other than that, I'm like, oh,
I can see him.
and even then, Brian Hudson is like 6'8" and left-handed. He's left-handed Trevor McGill.
I don't hate that.
That's scary to think about.
A 6'9" lefty.
There's a reason the
Yeesh.
Brewers traded for that guy. Like,
Yeesh. Wow. Like the Brewers
okay,
like are filthy in the bullpen. It's like when you really start looking at the guy, like we only get 26 spots, and however you want to figure out the starters, like once you get to the back end of the bullpen, it's like who can you hit? Think about it. Who can you hit?
so okay, I'm looking. This is funny. Anybody want to take a shot at Trevor McGill's weight that he's listed at?
230.
280.
No.
You guys kind of split it. It's 255. He's 6'8", 255. That's a unit.
He's a
That is a
tackle.
unit.
And Brian Hudson is listed 6'8", 220.
No, there's your tight end or your
Yeah.
power forward.
Like, are we sure we shouldn't be signing up for the NBA with the size of dude coming out of the pen?
And then
They-
Hobie Builder slinging his side balls, who is
Hey,
also very, very
Hey,
effective.
Hobie's 6'3".
Yeah,
Don't
he's
sleep on
he's a bigger dude.
Hobie's
The
like,
shortest dude in the pen is Freddie. Or the shortest dude on the roster is Freddie.
Who throws
And what, he's
For
96
pitching
5'11"?
staff. He's listed 6 foot, so let's be
and what? He throws 96 with lift.
Yeah.
And that's as a starter, not if he was a reliever, I truly think he could get up to 99 plus.
Yes.
JB is also 6 foot, and he's also like 95 plus. So
Jeez.
it's just a bunch of dudes in the pen. Okay, so I want to take this shot. I want to know what you guys think. I need let's just brainstorm this. Opening day lineup. Where they're playing, who's, and where we're hitting. To me, I think Yelich is still leading off. Opening
I
day.
don't know. He's been hitting nothing but 3.
I have
Especially
Yelich
since it's a
as
lefty.
my 3. I have
Especially
Yelich as
since
my
it's a
3.
lefty.
Okay, so Yelich at 3,
Yes.
Frelick
Uh,
1.
Frelick or Mitchell 1.
Frelick
Yeah.
1 in right field.
William 2, catcher, obviously.
Yep.
Reese
Yelich,
4,
Yep. Reese
Gary
4.
5,
Damas 6.
Adama 6.
Yep.
Terang 7.
Well, to me, this is where I would go Churio.
Yeah. I like
Yo,
that
yeah.
there.
7 in center. And then
Terang.
Terang 8 at second, and Ortiz
Yep.
And then the
9
third
at third.
baseman. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really like Ortiz batting in the 9 spot there to turn over the lineup because then he essentially becomes your leadoff hitter.
Well, there's more power there than people really want to talk about with Ortiz. You've
Right.
seen that swing.
And
There's more lift
he's been
there.
elevating it. Yep. Yep.
Like I
I'm
think
content with
Ortiz
him.
is due.
I wish I
I
could
think
watch.
Ortiz is going to break.
Don't we all?
It's not just Orioles people that are talking about Ortiz. Like I just saw the other
He's
day,
getting
like
national
a
attention.
national dude was like, the Brewers have 3 of the most intriguing prospects I've ever seen, and it's Ortiz, Miz, and Churio. So we're not even talking about Black and
No.
Bobby Gass and Carlos Rodriguez.
Coero, best
Coero
defensive,
too, yeah.
probably best defensive catcher prospect.
That
who's
that
throwing
dude also
kiss
loved
missiles.
that guy also loved Yofri Rodriguez, or is it Rodriguez?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That kid's
Did he,
18. He's unreal.
you cut off a little bit. Was one of them Luis Lara or?
Nope.
We
This
didn't
kid
mention
Oh, we
didn't
haven't even got
mention
to him
Lara,
either.
Yeah.
Jesus.
and he's 18. Like seriously.
Cooper Pratt didn't do too bad, right?
Mm. Pratt's a longer way away, but I still think he's gonna be really good.
I mean, Eric Brown Jr. He's been electric.
He's pushing. I mean, the Brewers farm system's loaded. One of the
Yeah.
national guys mentioned it today. It's just like behind the Orioles, nobody's as deep as Milwaukee.
Like, okay, looking back, just 2019, just seeing how bad the Brewers farm system was into how good it is now,
I
it
mean,
just shows you
For
how
a while, Keston was the poster
good
boy.
they've done in the international signing. Done really good in the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keston was the poster boy for a while. Before that, Orlando Arcia was the poster boy. So
Lewis
And-
Brinson for a year.
None of those
Hey,
three turned
that man netted us the arguably the greatest trade in Brewers history.
Yes.
oh yeah, no doubt.
Peek back a couple episodes to
Mm-hmm.
find that. So who's our division winners in the NL? I hate to say the Dodgers run away with the West, but like
It's hard
you
to pick
don't
against
spend
them.
over. If you don't win the division, you failed and everybody's getting fired. Like that's what it comes down to. And I don't think I'm crazy with that assessment.
No.
No, you're not at
Robert's
all.
Not at all.
gone. The whole
Oh,
front,
yeah.
Freeman, you're gone.
The
Like
fact Dave Roberts is still a manager after like how much it seems like every year he's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
He has the greatest roster every year and always comes up short.
Every
Love it
year
when
the
they
greatest.
win it. Bubble.
and I think this is the year that if he doesn't win it, they move on.
I don't see
It
how you
has to
don't.
be.
The Dodgers have been winning the Paper World Series for a while now.
And Cancun World Series.
Look, they dominated the bubble, all right?
It's hard to pick against the
Um,
Braves as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Braves are gonna be low. I think the Braves honestly run away.
I don't
I
know. The
do
Phillies give
think
them a run for their money, to be honest.
Well, I
The
think
Phillies, if
those
they can
two,
hit, I
those
think.
two go. They make the playoffs,
and then it's just a 50-foot
and then
pile of crap.
there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us.
I don't want to say this, but I do think the Reds have a very good chance at winning the Central.
I don't
Right?
know.
Right? Right?
They've been
I think
I
they're a
think they've
little too
been
young.
that, and they've been having issues with Marte coming
Yeah.
or not being able to be a part of that team. If Marte was a part of the team and they haven't been having injury issues, I think the Reds would be up there for top 3.
And they don't verbally say they hate Jonathan India. Like, it's been the weirdest thing with him. Like, we hate him, but we're not trading him.
His value's too good, but we don't want him.
Yeah. He was a rookie of the year, but we really hate this guy.
Yeah, I just don't get what I mean, I get what the Reds are doing, but then there's also like, what are you doing?
All right.
The Cardinals
I-
don't scare me. The Cubs don't scare me. And
I think the
then
Pirates might sneakily be good if O'Neal Cruz
No.
has like if O'Neal Cruz like at least is like somewhat close to what his spring has been going for. I think he could be an issue.
I think they'll
Specifically
be
him and
Good till
Hayes.
June, and then they'll fizzle out.
just like
That's
normal.
Like usual.
Yeah.
I think the Brewers win the division. I know it's a little bit of homer pick, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I also think the winner of the division wins 90 games. Like, the division just beats up each other.
It's gonna be another mediocre NL Central, AL Central.
But I think what actually helps the NL Central this year is the balanced schedule.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Because the NL Central is a lot better than people want to say, because it's just a bunch of young dudes.
Oh,
lot
on
of fun
every single
teams
team
too,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. Lot of young guys.
Except the Cubs.
Or the Cardinals are
Cardinals.
starting rotation.
The Cardinals retirement home.
I mean their pitching staff.
Was it
Their average age is like 35 in
When
their
Nolan
starters.
Arenado was traded there, he was the 9th oldest guy on the team. And going into this year, he's the 10th oldest guy on the team.
I mean, we already seen the retirement home get hurt. Sonny Gray's not on the opening day
yeah.
roster.
And wasn't he the youngest guy in that rotation too?
Isn't it Michaelis? They got to be
Ooh.
close to the same age.
Yeah, roughly. But they're still on the other side of 30.
So here's the thing that gets me. They signed Gray. Obviously, he's hurt. They signed Lance Lynn. And Miles Michaelis is still their opening day starter.
I am
I
not very high
hate
on
watching
Miles.
Mike.
Oh,
hate
I am
watching him
so
pitch.
low on Miles Michaelis.
And then he just carves up the Brewers for no
Every
reason.
single time.
That is the only team that he carves up, and it is the most frustrating thing ever. He's the most average major league pitcher I've ever seen in my life.
Who's ready for the Justin Steele to go 5 innings and then Cubs fans get mad when Council yanks him? Because, this is about 162 and not just number 1.
It's inevitable.
Or
at
third
this
time
point.
through. Third
Yep.
time through for him.
Yeah, I can already hear it now.
That media, I can't wait until they give it to him.
Oh, it's going to be great. And he's going to actually have to answer questions because they're going to be ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
The only 2 signings really that matter are Matt Chapman and Blake Snell both signing with the Giants. All of a sudden, the Giants had arguably the second best offseason in Major League Baseball.
Kudos to Scott Boras. Masterclass this winter.
Honestly, kudos to San Francisco for preying on the Boris clients.
You know what? Business is business. It's not personal. It's just business.
It's just
business.
Look, next year for him is going to be even better because all of them have opt-outs.
Yep.
Burns, Soto. He's going to have a field day getting a whole bunch of 2-year, 3-year, under $100 million contracts. It's going to be great.
Hoskins potentially too.
Hey, all I know is that your friend Kyle, your friend Kyle recruited Blake Snell. I was watching his YouTube video. part of it was they're doing co-op, and
Sorry for cussing.
someone said something about Blake Snell, the Giants.
Sorry for cussing.
Family friendly.
Um,
Oh no.
so the Badger basketball team got a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. They played really well in the Big Ten tournament. Beating Purdue in overtime when Edie get it. Why does Edie get reffed like he's 5'0" and a child?
He gets the ball. He has one move. Right into the neck.
I just got to follow
Wow.
Zach Edie for breathing.
Yeah. And now you're fouled out.
Yeah, I'm done because I took a charge. Crazy. Look, they played really well against Illinois in the Big Ten title game. I think they looked like a team playing their 4th game in 4 days at the end of
They
it.
just kind of ran out of gas at the end.
And Terrence Shannon Jr.
No means no.
I'm not saying that.
Gabe said it.
Thank you,
said
Gabe.
it.
No means no.
Also, credit to the Wisconsin cheerleaders for chanting it and almost getting kicked out.
Wow.
I wish
They got told by the Big Ten to stop, otherwise they're gonna get kicked out.
Now we know the Big Ten stance on that.
Good for the
I
Badger
like how-
cheerleaders.
Honestly.
I like how the judge said a predetermined conflict to halt the trial.
Yeah.
Like, dude, come on. Is that guy got money on Illinois to win the title this year? Did he take him at like plus 2,500 before the year? And
I mean, they got to get through
Needs to see it
Moorhead
through.
State.
Antonio Brown's favorite team, them in Longwood.
Terrence Shannon has to get through Moorhead State.
They don't know what no means now.
To get back
but
on
was-
track a little bit, yeah.
Wisconsin plays James Madison at 8:40 Central Time on Friday.
Brutal.
That's dumb.
They finally playing their best ball at the right time though.
Yeah.
Hard to like everything I saw was encouraging this past weekend.
I saw that the fire guard people are in shambles right now. I
Mhm.
like to check once in a while I'm scrolling through Twitter to check the fire guard gauge to
May or may
just
not
to
have
see
been
where
on
everyone's
that.
feeling.
May or may not have been on that.
They are struggling.
Well,
The
my biggest
flame
gripe
is
was that they never
Well-
made a run really in the Big Ten tournament with his recruits. It was kind of like win
Yeah.
one game, done. And I like to see that they actually made a run. Now it's time to make a run in the actual tournament, which
I have them getting to the Sweet 16.
we need to get revenge for 2015 in the
Exactly.
too.
And
Duke has a lot of talent. but
Shire,
they don't
it's
fit.
Shire, not K anymore.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think the refs like Shire as much.
They're playing some bad ball right now too. Duke is.
Yeah.
Not really
And-
encouraging watching them.
Kyle Filipowski has turned into Christian Leitner.
Grayson
Grayson
Allen,
Allen.
JJ Redick.
Yeah. He's a
Gotta
big
love
tripping guy.
He didn't see him there though. He didn't intentionally
His
look
shoe
back.
was coming off. Anyways, James Madison is a little undersized. Their tallest guy is 6.
Wow.
They've got like 3 guys that are 6'9". They have a pretty good forward named TJ. It's TJ like Blackshear or something like that.
Mhm.
Pretty solid, averages 13 points a game, but he gets everything at the rim. Like he's not it. There's not an outside game really. But their best player is Terrence Edwards Jr., who averages, he's a 6'6" guard forward. So he's probably going to be Klesmit's matchup if I had to guess. But he's also their primary ball handler. That's where it gets a little.
Chucky's got him.
Like he's Dollar General Terrence Shannon Jr.
Without the allegations.
without the allegations. Averages 17.9 a game, 35% 3-point shooter, 42.8% overall, and he's their best free throw shooter at 83%.
Which still
They're not good at the free throw line.
That
So
you just
this
gotta be
game's-
aggressive.
Yeah.
Force the big
So
men
this
down
has
low.
got to be this got to be a game where Chucky just feeds Wall and Crowell, and Store just decides to put somebody on a poster.
You saw that look from Chucky when he saw the selection.
Yeah.
He's got unfinished business.
They asked him about that today. He said, "I'm thirsty for blood."
In his Instagram caption, he had hashtag make 'em believe. I had to change my bracket after I saw that.
What?
What, next
Who is your
round?
guys' champ?
UConn.
I got it. I got Arizona.
I have not filled mine out yet.
I have
Um,
Creighton.
You have
I
Creighton.
saw what Arizona did to Wisconsin
Yeah.
in December and went, "Yep, they're winning the national championship." Like, and it's in Phoenix. It's just gonna be a home game essentially for them.
I have Arizona getting out in the Sweet 16.
Oh wow.
That's when I have Marquette losing.
I have Marquette losing to the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers.
I got Marquette losing round of 32.
Ooh,
I might be
wow.
joining you with that, Cal.
I hate Marquette.
Right?
I
No,
also
join
have-
me. Join me.
Join the Hilltopper wave.
I think I also have Purdue losing to another double-digit seed, but it might be in the Sweet 16.
I have them losing
Actually-
to Utah State.
Oh, in the second round, huh?
Yeah.
I just can't trust Purdue, especially when like
The
It's
Big
gonna
Ten
be
is
a
a referee.
NCAA.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have Jeffrey Anderson reffing,
No
Hey,
Jeffrey
that
slander. No
Dude,
Jeffrey
he-
slander.
look, we love those high knees down the court, Jeff.
But the
Swallow
officiating.
swallow the whistle, man. Just let him play. Let him throw elbows and play.
I'm a big fan that Stephen Crowell basically walked up to him and told him that he was a BBB.
Yep.
Some people just need that reminder.
That was early in the
Yeah.
game too, wasn't it? It was like 2-2 at that point.
Okay, tell me how Edie gets 2 fouls in 3 minutes and doesn't pick up another foul in the game that goes to overtime
And their only points in overtime were off free throws too.
and their last 3 minutes regulation.
Oh,
In the last 3 minutes of regulation and the 5 minutes overtime, they went 0 for 6 from the field but shot 18 free throws.
Wow.
Somebody please explain.
swallow the whistle, Jeffrey.
Swallow the refs.
swallow the refs.
Swallow the refs.
Somebody please tag Antonio Brown and tell him what minute mark this is.
For his 4 favorite crackers. And
Hashtag
I'm a
CT
multi-grain.
ESPN.
I'm technically a multi-grain cracker. Let that be known.
Hashtag
25%
CT ESPN.
25% Irish.
We're getting put
Oh.
on CT ESPN. Let's go.
100%. There needs to be a meme of that. Make sure we tag AB with the minute mark. Clip that. Clip it.
We'll clip it and we'll send it over his way.
I think we should
Good
talk
brother.
about the Packers now.
Yeah,
a
the
little bit.
Packers have been awesome. Josh Jacobs in at an awesome deal of 4 years, 48 million, but only 12.5 million guaranteed.
That is the kicker.
That is a great deal. It's essentially a 1-year deal with 3 more options. Like,
I am willing to swallow that as a contract.
and especially since he's 3.5 years younger than Aaron Jones. Packers offense actually got younger while adding the NFL's leading rusher 2 years ago.
Who had a terrible line last year.
Yeah.
And the Purdue's starting quarterback the year before. So rookie quarterback too. So
With
If
the
it was-
worst mustache I've ever seen.
You've never seen my mustache when it's full grown.
Please don't.
I don't-
I
Gabe
was
hates
saying
it.
it was bad. I was saying
Gabe
it was
hates
bad.
Josh. Gabe is
Ah.
Josh Jacobs' #1 hater.
It's just like he's so unproductive
Eating doesn't look good
unless
on you,
it's
Gabe?
garbage time. That's why he's the perfect like bottom of the league fantasy running back. He is the garbage time workhorse.
Hating
The
doesn't
dude
look good
ripped
on
off
you.
an 80-yarder in OT to win a game.
I don't know. I'm
Sit this one out,
still
champ.
not.
Gabe, I think
I'm-
you
I'm
need to
not
go
all
watch the
for it.
Raiders' offensive line last year
It'd be like if you put
and
us
tell me
4
how
and
many yards you're getting against that with that offensive line.
I ain't getting no yards.
gonna hurt his hip again.
That was punting, all right. I was punting.
Doesn't help your case.
It was a non-contact injury.
That is so much worse. Like significantly worse than you were punting a ball.
Highest football in a nutshell.
Xavier McKinney, Packers went and got the top safety. And they
Exactly
paid
what they
for it.
Thank
needed.
you.
Like, let's not fool ourselves. 4 years, 67 million. They paid for it.
Worth the contract.
Worth every penny. It was their biggest need. Now the draft, for me at least, I can relax a little bit because now I'm just like, oh, that's who they took? Okay, cool. Like they'll make it
Cool.
work.
All they need is an off-ball linebacker.
Adrian Cooper, please. Or Peyton Wilson if you want to deal with the injury history. But the guy's a dog.
I mean, they might as well get two because what?
We lost
that
you
who-
their game.
Who do they have? McDuffie and Clay, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's a 3 linebacker. It's a
Yeah, 4-3.
Yeah, it sounds like they're gonna run a lot more 4-2-5,
okay.
but
You still
obviously
need 4 in
they
rotation.
need I would go sign Isaiah Simmons still.
I would like
Mainly
that.
because he's athletic as an athletic freak.
Swiss Army knife type of guy.
Yeah. AJ Dillon is back on to me, this is a very interesting, great contract because it cost the Packers only $1 million. But it's called the 4th-year qualifying offer. And basically they signed him for 1.35 million above the veteran min of 1.08. So it only counts as 1.08 million against the cap.
So he still gets his money, and he gets to stay in Green Bay where he's beloved and knows the system and loves playing there, and was starting to gain momentum at the end of the season and figuring out his feet under him with this offensive system. So I really do like the AJ Dillon signing. I think he's going to take a step forward that we've been waiting for, but we really started to see it all come together towards the end of the season last year.
I think they still draft a running back because I still think they need somebody that with that pass catching.
Well, is Wilson still on
Primary.
the 53 or no?
He is. So we'll see what I know they like him. I've never seen him catch a pass. Like
True.
Keyshawn Nixon back 3 years, 18 million. Some people think that's too much. I don't mind it.
All pro.
If anything, like yes, great returner, but if anything, he's got an attitude.
He brings an edge to
good veteran
the
presence,
defensive
too.
back.
Yeah, no fake tough guy.
None.
No fake tough
Get him out.
guys.
Just get him out.
Another no fake tough guy. Corey Ballantyne is back.
He's
to
a
talk
quality.
the most crap.
Oh yeah, he
with
was a perfect
Valentine
backup
and
last
Jair.
season. He
Yeah.
filled in every single game that Jair was doing either A, injured, or B, doing Jair things.
Jair being Jair.
Calling coin tosses. And then Tyler Davis. It doesn't move the needle for me, but he's a good special teamer, 4th string tight end.
And LaFleur loves tight ends, so he's gonna have 4 full guys to be able to work in whenever he needs to give those guys a break whenever they need.
But in the sad news, Aaron Jones, David Bakhtiari, and Devondre Campbell all released. It's not super difficult to see why each one was released.
Business is business.
Yeah, unfortunately, the NFL is a business, and
Campbell's being
our fanfare loves to get in the way of that.
Campbell's being a baby.
I don't know. He's been bringing up some solid points. I've been seeing that he brought up that some of the defensive staff, before this new hire was causing to put guys in poor situations, and we could all definitely see that with a CB1 Preston Smith against Justin Jefferson. Like it's very easy to see how they would put guys in different positions where they wouldn't be able to succeed. And there's a lot of thinking going on, and I don't know. I could see his point of view, but also the dollars just didn't make sense for an aging middle linebacker.
I can also see it, but let's not act like he wasn't an all-pro though.
He was.
Yeah. No.
But he didn't live up to the 5-year $50 million.
Fair.
No, not
this
at all.
year.
Fair.
But I still love Devondre Campbell.
Yeah.
Yep.
His house is actually listed for sale. You guys want to take a look? It is spectacular.
I have
Just
$5.
under $1 million.
Nope. Out of my price range.
A little bit out of mine.
Unfortunately. Aaron Jones, that one hurt a lot of people.
Had the best running back room for an
I'm
hour.
gonna say an unpopular opinion about this. The Packers got his market value right.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Him going to the Vikings and what, roughly $1 million more valuation. So Packers were right, and unfortunately, we're gonna have to bite the bullet on it. The casualty is we get Josh Jacobs, so I mean, I'm willing to live with it.
And the
per se.
casualty for Aaron Jones, he gets to go play with Sam Darnold.
Good for him, man.
Yay.
Good for him.
26-year-old Sam Darnold I saw today.
They're picking
Is he
Jaden
really still only
Daniels.
20? Is he really only 20? No, they're gonna take JJ McCarthy.
That's gonna be hilarious.
Oh,
I don't know. I've been seeing a May. I've been seeing that
If
mock to the
if they
Vikings.
get all the way up to get Drake May, I will be shocked. Because right now it's gonna go Caleb, Daniels, or May, and then May or Daniels.
I don't know.
I
I
think-
think the
I think the
Vikings trade up.
Commanders trade out.
I think the Vikings trade up with
After
the
trading
Patriots
Sam
or the,
Howell,
I think so.
they trade out
There's a lot
after
of value. There's a lot of value later.
I guess if they really want Penix,
Ugh.
He's
He's worse
old
than
to-
McCarthy.
I would take Penix over McCarthy, but those injuries scare me.
Age
When
also
you're-
scares me.
When your head coach leaves for the NFL and in 3 of the 4 biggest games of the year, you have 20 or less pass attempts, that tells me that Harbaugh really didn't trust your ability to throw the football. And I get in the national championship game because what Donovan Edwards did to and Blake Corum did to that Washington defense was inhumane. But like 18 pass attempts for under 200 yards. And he's not throwing bombs. He's throwing underneath routes that guys just take to the house.
Hey, but he threw the ball hard and the hardest thrower at the NFL Combine. So
I don't get Twitter's like fascination with JJ McCarthy.
I'm
I
glad we
never-
have
I
Jordan
don't
Love.
either.
I'm
I
glad we
never
have Jordan Love.
I
That's
never
where I'm
watched
at.
a Michigan
I'm glad we
football
don't have
game
this situation.
where I was like, JJ McCarthy really eats it up for me.
Yeah, I didn't watch a single Michigan game going, man, JJ McCarthy is going to be the reason we lose.
Like that, like when it was Utah, Ohio State, I think that was two years ago. Where's
yeah,
that ball game?
Stroud
Yeah.
versus the
Cam
kid with the
Rising?
huge helmet, Dalton, Cam Rising. I love Cam
Yes,
Rising.
I
His
do
helmet
too.
is way too big.
That is the moment that I fell in love with CJ Stroud.
When he's only throwing to Emeka Ibuka and Garrett Wilson. That was unbelievable. But you're not wrong. Like, you watch a Stroud game and you're like, he is going to light you up. Okay, JJ McCarthy kind of gives me the feeling that I saw with Justin Fields, where it's like, that's a really good athlete,
But
not making reads.
Yeah.
I don't think McCarthy's that good of an athlete at that.
He may
Is
not
it
be at the
because
pro
of his
level,
skin
but
tone?
he had a
Isn't every quarterback an athlete in college?
yes,
Did
in a
you see
way.
Joe Stave?
Did you see Tanner Mordecai's RAS score?
Yeah,
No,
he
I did
crushed
not.
it.
He killed it.
He would have
Really?
been the number 1
Yeah.
quarterback at the combine by a lot.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
The only thing that was
Jeez.
bad was his height, I think.
Yeah,
And the
because
red.
he's a little short.
Yeah. I think he's
But
like
that's-
6'2", isn't he?
Yeah, but that's
But
short for an
for-
NFL
yeah,
quarterback.
NFL quarterback is 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
So
Like Rodgers is 6'2".
he's undersized. He's an
Mordecai's going
undersized
to be a
quarterback.
great backup quarterback in the league.
I'm an undersized quarterback then.
I
too.
need Mordecai to be the Packers' backup quarterback for the next 10 years, like Jim Sorgi was Peyton Manning's backup.
I think Sean Clifford, the Laser Show, has that locked up right now.
Who's got to change his
I
number
think
now?
he does too. He did. He
I
changed
think-
it to 6
I think Sean Clifford is,
because Josh
The
Jacobs
starting
jerseys
quarterback
are for
next
sale
year.
in the pro shop.
Mm,
Gabe, I did not want to hear that come out of your face.
It
It
pained me
came
to
out of
say
his
it.
it came out of his face hole.
It pained me to say it.
You know what the worst part is? He didn't even believe it when he said it. Like
No,
you
no,
could
he had
see
to
it in
practice
his.
that. He had to practice that this morning
He was
when he
looking
got
at
up.
Eli, and he said it to Eli probably 7 times before he decided to say it out loud.
I was just saying what Twitter would say during preseason.
Yeah,
Mm.
good old like Timmy and Swamico.
You know that Clifford guy. He's pretty good. Getting picked off by third stringers. Pretty good.
Sneaky athletic,
Sneaks one in,
cerebral
last one
guy.
Let him date my
Have you
daughter.
guys, did you guys ever watch? Did you guys ever watch the league?
No.
A little bit.
So it's a fantasy football show and it's older, but it's still very relevant. It's like, what do they say about white wide receivers? Quick twitch, does the
Sneaky.
little things.
They always do the little things.
But
Like to get in the
that's just how it
trenches.
goes.
Does
Really,
the
really
dirty
like
work.
Not afraid to get dirty.
We'll do anything you ask them.
Lunch pail guys, hard hat guys, blue
Yeah.
collar.
Blue collar?
That's me now.
Oh,
Heck yeah, you are.
Great show
Guess
if
I
you
have
haven't
to
watched
join
it.
you.
Highly recommend. It is on, I think it's on
I think.
Hulu.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll never go away because it is very funny.
Check it out.
But I think that's really all we got today.
Yeah.
I think so. That was a solid list of stuff we got through.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. Sorry we took a little hiatus there. Gabe and Jake decided to go to Florida. If you haven't checked
My
out
bad.
our transfer portal update with Gunner on the Views from the Stands podcast, please do. That was an amazing episode. We've heard some good feedback on it. Go check that out. Also, hit us up on TikTok, Instagram, X, not Facebook. Maybe soon if TikTok goes away. Maybe get into the Reels game.
Make that happen.
But hey, no fake tough guys. Go Pack, go. On
Claws up.
Wisconsin, beat
Claws up.
JMU.
Claws up.
Claws up, baby.
Claws out.
There it is.
Pause up.